Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're tuning in today because we're looking at something you've probably walked past 100 times without giving it a second thought. Yep, the marigold. Today we're going to completely reframe how you look at this everyday flower. It is not just some basic garden border plant meant to add a little pop of orange to your yard. No way. It is an absolute biological marvel with a resume that'll frankly just blow your mind.
So think about this for a second. What connects ancient Egypt, the International Space Station, and your very own backyard? Sounds like the setup to some bizarre historical riddle, right? Well, the answer is the marigold. Okay, let's dive into this, because once you understand the hidden power and the massive, sprawling history behind the seemingly ordinary flower, I promise you're never going to look at a garden the exact same way again.
Here's our roadmap for today. Number 1, a 5,000-year resume. Number 2, nature's ultimate pest control. And number 3, the seed to bloom guide.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, a 5,000-year resume.
5,000, that's right. For over 5 millennia, humanity hasn't just been planting the marigold for its looks, we've literally been relying on it. Across completely different continents and cultures, this flower has been actively harvested for medicine, used in everyday cooking, and placed right at the center of deeply sacred religious ceremonies. It's a plant that's just totally woven into the fabric of human history. Now, the really crucial point here is the sheer scale of its journey. I mean, 5,000 years ago, it was already a revered staple in ancient Egyptian and Indian cultural ceremonies. Throughout antiquity, its medicinal and culinary uses spread like wildfire across Greece and the Americas. But then, fast forward to the modern era. Get this. NASA literally packed marigold seeds onto rockets and grew them on the International Space Station. They wanted to study how flowers develop in zero gravity. Just wrap your head around that massive contrast for a second. From the ancient, fertile, earthly soils of Egypt all the way to the sterile, zero-gravity vacuum of space. This flower has practically conquered it all. Moving right along to Section 2, Nature's Ultimate Pest Control. Now, what's really interesting here is how the marigold acts as a dual-action biological defense system. It's literally fighting a war on two fronts to protect your surrounding crops. Below ground, those roots aren't just passively sitting there soaking up water. No, they're actively releasing a chemical into the earth that seeks out and kills harmful nematodes rich soil. But wait, it doesn't stop there. Above ground, the leaves are constantly pumping out this distinct scent into the air that actually confuses and repels airborne insects. It's basically a localized, all-natural security system for your garden, fiercely guarding the whole shebang, both above and below the dirt.
And that brings us to Section 3, the Seed to Bloom Guide.
So, if you want to witness this upward journey yourself, you've got to start it off right. You'll want to plant your marigolds in well-draining soil where they can soak up full sun, and make sure to space them about 10 to 12 inches apart. Today we're going to look at the 3 distinct stages of this amazing transformation: the seed in the soil, the stems and leaves, and finally, the blazing bloom. We're starting in the absolute dark of the earth and pushing straight up into the warm, bright sunlight.
No bigger than a fingernail. Seriously, just stop and think about everything we just talked about. 5,000 years of human history, spacefaring resilience, a literal chemical warfare defense system. And every single bit of that massive potential is packed into a tiny, pale seed no bigger than your fingernail. When you sow these, you only need to press them a quarter-inch deep into that dark, crackling soil. It is just an absolutely astonishing piece of biological packaging, isn't it?
Well, when the soil conditions and that warm spring light are just right, that tiny seed totally springs into action. A single white root emerges and purposefully pushes downward into the dark dirt to anchor the plant and hunt for water. But at the exact same time, a pale green hooked shoot actively pushes upward. It breaks right through the surface crust of the earth, unfurling its narrow seed leaves directly into the light. It's this perfectly choreographed push and pull of nature.
Once it makes it above ground, the whole architecture of the plant really takes off. The stem continuously grows taller and way thicker. Then, these deeply divided, feathery dark green leaves start unfurling in an alternating pattern. Now, as a gardener, you definitely want to remember that these specific, highly textured leaves are the exact ones releasing that insect-repelling scent we were talking about earlier. And as the plant keeps soaking up sunlight, it branches outward, with new side shoots rapidly developing at every single leaf node to create a really dense, highly protective bush.
Okay, now the anticipation really starts to build. At the very tips of all those newly formed stems, you'll see these tight, round green buds starting to form.
They continuously swell, getting larger and larger, just packing in sunlight and energy. You wait and wait until finally that outer green casing starts to peel back and you get those very first tantalizing hints of vibrant orange appearing right at the tips.
And this brilliantly illustrates a total sensory explosion. It happens layer by layer, literally like something unfolding from the inside out. You see each of those swollen green buds holds dozens and dozens of petals packed so tightly inward. When they finally trigger to open, it isn't just some simple pop. It's this slow, methodical unfurling that reveals a seemingly endless cascade of vivid orange and gold, expanding beautifully and complexly outward right from the center.
All of this culminates in a majestic final state, Tagetes erecta, the African marigold. What started as just a tiny pale speck in the dirt has totally transformed into a densely packed center of intensely vivid orange and gold layers. When that warm afternoon sunlight hits it, the translucent petals look like they're glowing from within, almost like a hot ember. It acts as this brilliant beacon, attracting beneficial pollinators, like bees, right to your garden, while the rest of the plant sways in the breeze, silently and powerfully guarding the soil.
So, I'm going to leave you with this provocative thought. If a seed no bigger than a fingernail can survive 5,000 years of human history, if it can protect a farmer's crops from the ground up, and if it can successfully travel into the zero-gravity vacuum of space, what else is hiding in plain sight in your garden? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I truly hope you leave today with a profound new appreciation for the extraordinary biology sitting right in your own backyard. Keep learning, keep exploring, and I'll see you next time.